Infestation Survivor Stories, formerly known as War Z, is back again in 2020. I'll be covering settings, techniques, and loot routes in this video, as well as get you acquainted with the new mechanics of the game. Let's get started. Upon opening the game, we are greeted by the main menu. Click on Options. Simply copy what you see on screen and fast forward, or hang around for an explanation of what each setting does. Under General, for language, choose your native language. Fast load preloads objects in game to reduce stutter and lag. Check this. Disable game tips is self-explanatory. Veterans check, beginners leave enabled until comfortable. Enable item physics causes items to spawn/drop on top of objects. I prefer to use this, but try it out yourself as it's personal preference. Automatically equip gear and attachments equips the best piece of equipment upon pickup. Check this. Headshot sound feedback gives audio feedback on a headshot. Check this. Keep same sensitivity while sprinting does as named. For max serpentining, check it. Streamer mode hides your identity and the server name both loading and in-game. Check this if you hate being stream sniped. Item highlight color does as named. Natively it is blue, but feel free to change to your liking. Disable menu blur. Check this, don't really see a reason to keep this on. Show blocked fire icon, I have no idea what this does, so leave it off for now. Under video, check the full screen option to maximize FPS. Your tabbing speed will suffer a little bit, but FPS is king in any competitive shooter. Leave the resolution as native or tweak to your liking. Use stretch if you're sweaty and disgusting. Brightness is personal preference, but you will see adverse effects at both extremes. I'm not too sure what render sharpness does. Experiment and let me know what you find out in the comments down below. Under graphics, just copy my graphics settings for maximum FPS and visibility. Under audio, choose the sound device you use to receive audio on Windows. If you're not too sure what that is and you're using Windows 10, right-click the speaker icon on the bottom right of your taskbar and click Open Sound Settings. Click on Sound Control Panel. Right-click the options that say Ready and click Test. If you hear a sound, this is your in-game sound device. I recommend disabling all of the extra devices you don't use to save troubleshooting in the future. All of the sound settings are pretty much self-explanatory, besides vehicle sound volume. Turn this all the way down unless you want to blow out your eardrums. Drum sound volume is pretty annoying as well, so if you want to turn that down while you're here, go for it. Under VoIP, if hearing how middle-aged men and teenagers fornicated with your mother is your thing, go ahead and enable voice chat. Choose your input device. If you're unsure or having trouble again, rewind the video, choose recording instead of playback in the sound control panel, and observe which device's levels rise as you speak. Enable show voice bubble speaking icon to see more specifically who slept with your mom. Under input, don't invert y-axis unless you're a fighter pilot. Keep mouse wheel on unless you find a reason not to. Acceleration is mouse acceleration. If you come from other FPS games, you know that's a no-no. Don't enable toggle aim and crouch unless you're extremely used to them in another game. And mouse sensitivity is personal preference. I myself play at 1 on 1600 DPI. Key bindings are all self-explanatory. The only notable changes I have made here was changing item 4 to mouse 4 for quick healing, melee aka empty hands to F, and inventory to G. Note that you have to unbind the desired key before binding. Experiment and find what works best for you. After you finish tidying up your settings, click on Community. If you manage to have friends, go ahead and click on Add Friend and type the name that is seen on the top right of their screen. Once you have added each other, click the plus sign next to your name to invite them. Go ahead and click the arrows in the top left corner and select the survival game mode. Create your character and give them a unique name. Once you're done, click play game in the top right, choose your region, and then join the lowest populated server. If you are interested in farming without the threat of other players, join the Discord located in the description and I'd be happy to hook you up. Once in game, run and loot whatever place is closest to you. Melee the zombies in the head with your flashlight to kill. Jump onto tall objects to de-aggro and kill zombies safely. Objects have to be at least chest height or taller to avoid being hit. If there aren't any tall objects around, use the technique shown on screen to minimize the amount of hits you take. It all comes down to timing and zombie animation stun manipulation. Once you have a hang of the mechanics, press M to see where you are located on the map. The most beginner-friendly locations in the game at the moment are Boulder City and Frosty Pines. Search nearby for a car. On screen are the locations of the car spawns in Colorado V1. If you don't find a car and you aren't nearby those locations, change your spawn point by simply disconnecting from the Colorado server, joining the Oregon server, disconnecting again, and then joining back to the Colorado server. Repeat this process until you are nearby Frosty Pines or Boulder City. If you end up at Frosty Pines, loot everything. It doesn't really matter which buildings you pick, just loot everything. The roided out albino chimpanzee down the road is known as a super zombie and spawns in the parking lot near the mansion located at the bottom of the road. Be sure not to sprint or fire a shot when you're nearby him or he will aggro onto you. If you do end up aggroing him onto you and don't have a surplus of ammunition, jump onto something high enough where he can't hit you and then swap to another Colorado V1 server. You will respawn outside the city in a safe location. If you end up at Boulder City, here are the two different loot routes I take depending on which side of the city I approach from. I will use loot route 1 and loot route 2 to reference. The first spawn is located in the forest southwest of the city. The super zombie is located in the center of the city near the crashed helicopter, so avoid sprinting when you're looting the first batch of tents. Proceed to explore the next two batches of tents as seen on screen. Avoid the area to the left of the second batch of tents as a ton of zombies and dogs spawn there. Once you get a little bit more experienced, I definitely recommend incorporating this building into your loot run as the boxes that spawn on each floor of the building have some awesome equipment. Once you finish up with the last batch of tents, head to the building I show on screen located at the bottom of the highway eastmost of the city to conclude your loot run. This is known as loot route 1. The next two spawns are located in very close proximity to each other, east of the city. Loot route of hill spawn is identical to loot route 1, and the rock spawn utilizes loot route 2, the inverse of loot route 1. The last spawn point is northwest of the city across the lake. This spawn utilizes loot route 2, but feel free to loot surrounding buildings in all loot routes. Once you've acquired some XP by killing zombies, you're going to want to start filling out your skill tree. Click on skill tree located on the character selection screen. Get the first two skills on the physical branch, then the first two skills on the weapons branch, then go straight for hardened on the survival branch. The survival branch is the most important branch to grind as hardened is a game changer in PvP. Drop a comment down below if you have any questions and subscribe for more infestation guides. I'm working on a survival PvP guide at the moment and I'd love to show you the ropes and chopping buns. Take it easy.
Killed two.
No, I can't.
You killed one?
Yep.